It doesn't get much better than this. Battle of the Bricks, Miami and Ohio on homecoming weekend. A fantastic Mid-American Conference showdown between two teams that are the class of the conference. Good afternoon and welcome to beautiful Pruitt Field on the banks of the Hockin River. My name is Cedric Granger and I'm joined by Sam Hyman. Sam, fantastic matchup. We got the 8-5 Redhawks, 4-4 Bobcats, one of the biggest rivalries in the entire conference and in the entire NCAA. It's a great showdown today. What are you expecting?
Yeah, I think it's just going to be intensity right from the get-go, Cedric. We spoke to both coaches about this scenario and about this matchup. And for Miami, their head coach, Iñaki Puzo, said, we need to bring our best game, plain and simple. We have to be able to compete and find a way to win. And in order to do that, we have to play our best game. And we had a chance to catch up with Frankie O'Brien, the graduate assistant coach on the Ohio side, and she felt like the team last season didn't play to their capabilities. So I think this is going to be down to the wire, and when it's Miami versus Ohio, you know the energy is going to be at an all-time high.
It certainly is. The last time these two teams played at Pruitt Field, it went into double overtime, a 4-3 win in favor of the Redhawks. Speaking of this series, the Redhawks, they've been red hot in this series, having won 13 straight matches. So the goal for the Bobcats is to break that streak. They've already broken a long streak in a series this season when they took down Kent State for the first time in 12 tries. And now they'll look to do the same against the Miami Redhawks. Let's jump into the starting lineups first. For the Redhawks here today, it'll be Mary Kate Barbie starting at midfield, Madison Workman also in the fray, Carly Service, Paula Navarro, Claudia Negrete Garcia, the player to watch for Miami, also getting the start, Berta Mata, Becca Lawn, Reese Warren, and then in the goal, it is Isabel Parisi for the Redhawks. As for the Bobcats, in between the pipes, it's Macy Lotz making her ninth start of the season. Then it's Noah DeMoretz on the field for the Bobcats. Bodie Littlefield, speaking of the word field. Mila Kopp moving on. Pauline Hartlieb. Caitlin Whittle, player to watch for the Bobcats. Sasha DiCatla, a player that really wants to step up in this game. She's had a great season so far. Emily Risser, Anouk Plan, and Wesley Littlefield rounds out the lineup. She has so much experience, over 70 starts in her career for the Bobcats, looking to end it off with a victory against the Redhawks. First touch, and we are underway here at Pruitt Field. A gorgeous 65-degree and sunny day here in Athens. The temperature starting to drop down a little bit. We've gone from summer to fall.
Yeah, starting to see some of the trees. Trees are changing.
It sure is. It's a beautiful backdrop. So the Redhawks starting out with possession, trying to control things early, working along that back line. It's a Redhawks team that is 8-5 on the overall season, 3-0, and one of the big discrepancies between these two teams, Sam, is in the amount of games played. 13 games played for Miami, 8 games played for Ohio.
Yeah, we spoke to head coach Iñaki Puzo about that, and he really emphasized the importance of challenging the squad in the non-conference, being able to play some of the best teams in the country. In fact, the Redhawks have played 4 ranked opponents this season: Maryland, Wake Forest, Louisville, and Virginia.
And their most recent matchup against Virginia is Ohio looking to build something into the attacking circle. We have Caitlin Whittle around there, as well as Merla Call. Bobcats like to tightrope it a little bit there as they're trying to get some room near the middle of the attacking circle. Defense strong by Miami, and they forced a free hit and going quickly on the counterattack. The Redhawks trying to work towards the middle yet again. Number 13, Paula Pena Martinez with possession. She generates another free hit for the Redhawks. Paula Navarro for the first time with possession and works it over to the left side. We'll see a lot of players hailing from Spain on this roster. They make up 17%.
Yeah, it's a really good breeding ground for this Miami team, and we spoke to Coach Puzo about that, and he said it's more than just networking. It's being able to get the trust from those players when you go out and recruit someone from a different country. And he's from there, too. He's got ties to Spain as well.
So here comes the first penalty corner of the day for Miami. This is their 82nd penalty corner that they have forced this season. And this is something that they've been really accustomed to. They've had a lot of penalty corners against them as well as penalty corners generated. So 2 minutes in, Miami with their first scoring opportunity. looking to bounce back from their loss against Virginia on October 1st.
Yeah, and here with the penalty corner situation, there are 4 players that will 3 of them will run out towards the top of the circle, one of which is the fly position.
And you'll see Caitlin Whittle doing that as there's a shot, and Whittle able to utilize her fly and her speed to knock that one away. Some good early defense by the Bobcats on the penalty corner. Something they've also had a lot of practice against. They've allowed 58 on this season, and one of their biggest wins was against Indiana earlier this season, back on September 10th, a 3-2 victory where Indiana had much more penalty corners as Miami trying to work something right near the net. Service, looking for room, and that one is kicked away. Good work by Macy Lotz, the goalkeeper, who's had a strong season.
Wow, that was a great job by Service. Yeah, her ability there to really trap it and control it inside the circle to put pressure on the Bobcats. But give credit as well to Caitlin Whittle. We talked about that fly position on a penalty corner. Her ability to sprint out there and get the deflection, such a massive moment.
Gorgeous pass from Becca Lawn on the near side, but Ohio once again staving it off. But that's a good point, Sam, on both sides with Service. You saw her almost balancing the ball on the top of her stick and bouncing it like what you would if you had a paddle on a ping pong ball, for example. And then Ohio, of course, flying up there. You talked about the fly position. What are some of the other positions around that penalty corner?
Yeah, so there's the post, which is the person that stays by the post, self-explanatory, and then a left and right trail. Those positions will prevent slips or any tips that transpire inside the circle. So pretty fascinating, and we'll be keeping an eye out on how things go with regards to penalty corners.
Here's Pena Martinez slicing her way into the attacking circle. Lotz being aggressive. And you either got to be the hammer or the nail back at that goalkeeper position. And Lotz, she's the hammer.
Yeah, great job by Macy Lotz. We spoke to graduate assistant Frankie O'Brien about Macy, and I asked her what's the biggest difference between when you first saw her play as a goalie to now, and her aggressive style has certainly emerged this season even more than in years past, and she's a senior.
Yep, Lotz, a senior from Louisville, Kentucky, attended Eastern High School, and you're going to see multiple players in this matchup from Louisville, one of the key recruiting grounds in the United States for field hockey talent. And, of course, some major colleges in that area, including Bellarmine of the MAC, as there's an interception. Service. She's been causing headaches for Ohio so far. Tried to work down the near line and ended up having that one out of play. But it looks like it is a free hit for Miami just outside the top of the key of the attacking circle.
Yeah, Miami really putting a lot of pressure early on against the Ohio Bobcats. The majority of the time we've had the ability to witness most of the action on the right side of the field.
So right now, Redhawks trying to keep up the offensive pressure and to break through, but good defense, one-on-one. Pauline Hartlieb with the steal, and now Whittle. She got some room and she can run. You saw it earlier when she was at her fly position, looking to stave off the defender. She gets past one, and then an infraction on Ohio, and it's a turnover. Speaking of the Bobcats, they are 4-4 this season, 2-1 in conference play. We got to talk to the Sarah Lugarski, the SID here for Ohio Field Hockey, and she was discussing the point system that has happened this year, which is a little bit of a change from years past, and that's going to hold a lot of weight in terms of tiebreakers, Sam.
Absolutely. Ohio's overtime loss to Ball State, they got a point because of that, which puts them in big position.
Dangerous situation, Miami right in front again, but Lotz, she has had to be on her high horse all throughout the start of this game. Right now, the Redhawks, they've been the aggressors, and they force another penalty corner.
Yeah, so right now, going back to that quick point, Ohio with 7 points right now, 2 behind Miami. So if they were to win this match out, this game outright in regulation, it would vault them into first place. So big implications right now for the Maction.
Yep, of the 8 teams in the Mid-American Conference, 4 teams make the conference tournament at the end of each season.
Yeah, and that key loss to Ball State in overtime, again, that's why Ohio has that extra point, 7 points, and App State and Kent State currently with 6 points.
So penalty corner number 2 for Miami. The first time Whittle was able to shut it down. Let's see what the Redhawks draw up here in minute 6. Passes down, a shot fired in there, and it finds the back of the net. Paula Pena Martinez with her 4th goal of the season. And how about that strike from the Red Hawks?
Wow, that was a very impressive goal. And I want to go back to what we discussed with the fly position. Caitlin Whittle just got there a little late and couldn't get a stick on that shot attempt, and the Red Hawks take advantage.
So 6 minutes is all it takes for Miami to get on the board for the first time. As now the Bobcats looking to counter back. Bobcats 4-4 on the season, 2-1 in conference play. Led by Coach Allie Johnstone, but she has such a fantastic staff. We got to talk with Louisa Abadi and Frankie O'Brien. As field hockey, they love during the interviews to have as many coaches as possible give their perspectives, which I think is great because you have Coach Johnstone, who's been around the program. This is her 6th season. She also played for Ohio, so knows what the Ohio-Miami rivalry is all about. These two teams been playing since 1975, so long-standing rivalry. And these two teams, they've gone to war. And for the first time since 1981, Miami has it as the goal is overturned, rather. We just found that out. So Bobcats able to breathe a little easier.
Yeah, I'd be interested if we get another look at that, because there are a couple of reasons why that goal could have been overturned. One of which is there's got to be a touch before the shot is taken outside the circle. That has to happen. I'm not sure if that was the reason for the infraction, or if perhaps the stick was lifted too high when taking the shot, but it is an infraction, and so we remain tied.
Yeah, that would have gone down as a dangerous hit, and the ball was in the air a little bit. If it's above that knee level within 5 feet of another player, that could result in the play being overturned. So the score is 0-0. However, the Red Hawks still trying to continue driving into the attacking circle. They've done it consistently. So Ohio looks to play bend but not break defense. And you're getting to see this a little bit now, Sam, really how hard it is to string passes together, especially in this sport.
Yeah, and early on, Miami was doing a really good job with their passing, tic-tac-toe style, really crisp. But Ohio has done a good job of weathering that storm.
So right now, 3 shots on goal for Miami already. As here comes Kaylee Connor, the senior back. Pressing that up to Luli Rozo. Then back over to Connor. Connor with the spin. And Miami working towards the center. A little bit of room for Mazzalupi. And yet again, another penalty corner.
Yeah, again, just Miami in control of possession the majority of this first half so far. And it's putting Ohio in a tricky situation with having to defend yet another penalty corner.
Yeah, this is not unfamiliar territory for the Bobcats, though. In that game against the Indiana Hoosiers, they were outshot 20-5 in that game, and that was due to Indiana accumulating 9 penalty corners in that matchup. Despite that, the Bobcats, they did not yield. And they won that game ultimately 3-2, and that was an overtime victory. But it is tricky to consistently win these battles. So here comes Miami again, their 3rd penalty corner of the match. They try again, and Ohio able to get in between that shot. It was Madison Workman that time, and the Bobcats, they get the better of that sequence.
Yeah, Workman hesitated a little bit after the distribution from the outside of the circle. She kind of stopped for a second, and that allowed Ohio to really gain ground and traction to disrupt that attempt.
Reminder with the Battle of the Bricks, this has been such an even rivalry, even though Miami has won 13 straight at this point. If we look at the full series, 28-27, Miami has just taken the lead in the series for the first time since 1981. So right now it kind of shows how, even though there's been streaks by Ohio, streaks by Miami. Of course, this is a 13-game streak for Miami. The Bobcats had an 8-game streak at one point as well, too. It shows how evenly matched these teams have been overall.
Absolutely.
Gorgeous pass into the attacking circle, but a new plan clears that off.
Yeah, she had another plan in mind, and that is to shut down Miami there.
That's why having you on here, we've been called the Dream Team multiple times with jokes like that.
I got somebody to laugh, so that's what counts.
That's what's up. 10 minutes up, 10 minutes down. And Ohio trying to get it into Miami territory. It's been a tough battle to be able to try to do that.
Yeah, and it's got to start with just crisp, concise passes to really sort of generate some type of momentum on the offensive side.
Yeah, but the challenge from that comes with there not being really set positions in the sport. Players can move around a lot more, so you have 2, 3, 4 players that are really pressing up, and this is a very aggressive Miami team. When we look at the positions, usually a lot of teams will go with like a forward position as to how they call it, but they call them strikers.
Yeah. Yeah, Miami on their roster, there are a couple of players listed as strikers.
So Bobcats with a side in. Skied up in the air, and there's Sasha DiCatla. And a free hit for Miami.
Yeah, I want to see Sasha DiCatla get heavily involved in this game. The sophomore from South Africa who's grown quite a bit when it comes to her confidence, according to graduate assistant Frankie O'Brien.
Yeah, she makes a really dynamic duo with Whittle. They have a lot of that similar ability to stretch the field. It was a big factor that one of the past Bobcats, Jillian Shive, who ended up being top 5 in goal scoring in Ohio history, and what she's done is Claudia Negrete Garcia with possession for the first time today. And another penalty corner set up by Miami. That's the first time we got to mention her name. Claudia Negrete Garcia, the senior from Santander, Spain. What makes her so dangerous?
Yeah, she's dynamic in so many ways with 49 career goals and 24 assists. So she not only can score, but she can also get her teammates involved. And her aggressive mindset, I mean, being able to be a presence inside the circle and draw a couple of defenders like she did just a moment ago, she's so good. But Coach Puzo said she is a great player, but an even better person.
Negrete Garcia with 6 goals on the season, which is first on her team and top 5 in the entire Mid-American Conference. She stands at the top of the key, and she'll get her chance at a shot. That one is up on the ricochet and off the top of the crossbar. As you can see, you're already making noise in terms of shots this season. Second in the entire conference with 32 shots. And of those 32, 22 of them have been on goal.
Yeah, it's remarkable. And that situation there on that penalty corner, we saw a great first touch from Madison Workman, really doing a good job. I mean, heck, 4 penalty corners has given her the ability to feel comfortable up there. And that first touch right to Negrete Garcia was just so crisp and clean and no hesitation.
Minute 13 here in Athens. And so far, Miami, despite the score being tied at 0, they have been in control of the game early.
Yeah, and if you're Ohio, you're obviously thrilled that this is the score right now because you haven't had a lot of opportunities on the left side of the field.
Well, in terms of depth, Miami has 30 players. Ohio has around 20 players. That's something that's been a factor in past matchups. So what it comes down to a lot, Sam, has been the quality of the chances that you generate versus the quantity. You may have teams that will continue to get opportunities, but if you can make sure that you make yours count, it can all even out.
Absolutely. That's been the case at some points in the season this year for Ohio, is they have been on the back end of the stick when it comes to whether they have more shots than the opponent, but they've made those shots count.
So Ohio now with a little bit of an opportunity. DiCatla driving into the attacking circle and meets the defense. But a penalty corner generated by the Bobcats. They tell Miami, anything you could do, I can do better. Tisket for a tasket. And here we go. First penalty corner of the day for the Cats.
Yeah, and when we talk about penalty corners on the Ohio side, Coach Frankie O'Brien said that you must have an accurate insert, meaning the player that is going to start the penalty corner, which will be Caitlin Whittle. and you have to have a possibility of someone to tip the ball. Maybe we could see Sasha DeKotla in that scenario off of a tip, so pay attention to that as well. She's on the right side of the circle.
So here's the insert for Whittle. Plan, takes a shot, and ricocheted off a defender. And it'll be a free hit for Miami. That time working to plan. There's a lot of people right around that circle and has opportunities. And we talked about how there are only a few players for the Bobcats that will fire shots from outside the attacking circle to try to set up ricochets.
Yeah, and one of those is Anouk Plan and Mila Kopp as well. Those are backers that will move into the attacking third and be able to light one up from outside the circle. So that is another thing to watch out for as well.
Just under a minute left to go in quarter number one. Miami and Ohio, battle of the bricks, as they call it. Both campuses built predominantly of bricks. Very similar type of bricks as well, too. And only separated about 2 hours and 30 minutes. Both in southern Ohio.
Which brick will stay intact after today? That's the question.
But with how aggressive both of these teams are playing and how intense this rivalry can be, feels like there'll be cracks in both bricks.
What a first session here we've witnessed, Cedric. It's been competitive, and even though Miami has dominated in the shots department, we're tied.
And that's how it'll go into the first quarter break. 15 minutes up, 15 minutes down. Battle for first place in the MAC. Miami and Ohio. More field hockey coming to you after the break. Welcome back to the banks of the Hockin River. Ohio and Miami. Battle of the bricks. No score between these two rivals. My name's Cedric Granger, and I'm joined by Sam Hyman. Sam, great first quarter, especially for the Redhawks on offense.
Yeah, Miami with 6 shots, 4 of which on target, and took 4 penalty corners. So you'd think Miami would have the lead when you look at the numbers and the discrepancy, but one of the goals called off, and we're sitting at 0-0 right now. So I think if you're Ohio, you've got to feel happy with that score, but you definitely have to do some things differently, and I think it starts with ball movement, right? That has to happen to generate some type of offense for the Bobcats.
Yeah. As for Miami, this is a big bounce back for them as well, too, offensively, after Virginia stifled them throughout a majority of that matchup. They also lost that battle in terms of penalty corners. They weren't able to generate offense off of their penalty corners, while Virginia scored 2 goals off of those plays, and that's how they got the 2-0 victory. And that's no easy team. That's number 6 team in the country, and they're coached by one of the most famous coaches in all of college field hockey, Michelle Madison, who's one of 9 Division I coaches with 400-plus wins, and head coach, of course, for Miami, and Jaco Puzo, with his 13th season here at Miami. But before that, he was coaching at Virginia with Coach Madison, and he really talked about that time being a great time to connect with coaches, connect with players, and absorb a lot of information. And he said that his time at Ohio State, his time at Virginia, those have really helped him to be successful. And not to mention that he has a ton of ties to the ACC for scheduling purposes. And you really see that a lot with coaches, where if they have ties to a certain school, they can be able to have them as a part of the schedule. For example, this year, Coach Johnstone of Ohio, she coached at Northwestern as Ohio. quickly on offense. Decatla has the one go out the back line. But they're playing Northwestern later this year, a team that's perennially in the championship or at least Final Four of the NCAA tournament. It'll be a tricky matchup, but it's one of those things that you can earn those scheduling opportunities through having those ties. Hartlieb tries to find Decatla. Littlefield puts up a shot, and that one is knocked away. First time getting to talk about Isabel Parisi, senior goalkeeper from Worthington, Ohio, making her 14th start of the season and picks up her first save.
Yeah, Ohio has come out a bit more aggressive here in this second quarter.
Yeah, that's the adjustment you can see from Ohio. Coach Johnstone, Coach Body, as well as Coach O'Brien. Bring in some adjustments. I got to sit on the sideline for the last couple of matchups for the Bobcats here at home, and they've done a good job of making adjustments on the fly. One example that I remember was in the Ball State match where Ohio found themselves down 1-0 late in the game. As Miami looks to have some numbers on their offensive end. Look at that. Piercing through the defense is Reese Warren trying to wear down the defense. But Ohio stands strong. They put their foot in the ground, a nuke plan, shutting things down on the defensive end. But Warren's not done yet.
Yeah, great effort from Reese Warren down that right channel. Almost crept inside the circle.
And now a golden opportunity. Lott with a gorgeous save against Negrete Garcia.
Wow, we talk about that aggressive mindset that Macy Lotz has grown into, and we've seen it now twice with her ability to come out of the cage and be fearless.
And against a team like this, you have to. You cannot sit back on your heels. But to that point earlier, Ohio, they made the adjustments to be more aggressive and turn up the dial and take more risks because they found themselves down late in the game. You have to take risks in those situations. So, for example, we saw Marla Call talk with Coach Johnstone, and she had a nice pep talk to be ambitious with the passing. And then 2 minutes later, Ohio was able to utilize that adjustment to score a goal and force overtime to get a crucial point, which has become their tiebreaker in this 2-1 group of MAC teams. There are 4 teams that stand at 2-1 in conference play as of today. And, of course, that'll change after Ohio plays Miami today. And then, of course, our other big game, App State, Kent State.
Massive, because those two teams have 6 points apiece. Ohio is separated by that overtime loss where you get a point, like you mentioned.
That game is played in Boone, North Carolina today, so App State with the home field advantage. Two of the better teams over the last couple of years for the conference, over the last decade. It's been Miami's conference to lose. They've won 6 straight, but the teams that have really competed with them, Kent State, Appalachian State, and then Ohio's given them some scares as well, too. Kent State, though, the only team to defeat them in that stretch. "19 minutes into the match, and no score between these two teams, Miami and Ohio. Bobcats trying to pick up where they left off on offense. They put on a show against Longwood.
Oh, yeah, 7 goals. And not only 7 goals, but what was even more fascinating is 7 goals from 7 different players. That is as balanced of an offensive attack as you could ask for, and really, really is something that Ohio is going to try and bring to the table here today, where you don't know who's going to be that goal scorer, who could potentially spring up and make something happen in this game.
And the Bobcats utilized their entire roster, a couple of players earning their first career goals. Johanna Hildebrandt, she earned her first goal, a freshman from Berlin, Germany. Mary Huffman, the sophomore from Ypsilanti, Michigan, she earned her first career goal as well, too. And that is just huge confidence boost for the team. When we talked with Coach Frankie O'Brien, she talked about how that matchup, it gives so much confidence to be able to see the team do this. And leading into this matchup, she said, I think this year is different. Players have honed in and stepped it up. And after seeing that Longwood game, they are ready.
And one of those players you mentioned, Joanna Hildebrandt, the freshman, Coach O'Brien said that she has emerged in a couple of specific ways with her ability to be really good with receptions, coming to the ball and creating.
There to Mata on a little bit of a counterattack. Look at how quickly she took possession back and drove it all the way down the field. Miami back on the attack again. And Mila Kopp gets in between the passing lane.
And an infraction there on Miami.
So free hit for Ohio, but you can see Miami's defensive alignment. They are hanging in there. I think that was the best decision possible just to clear it.
You got to be it's a 16-yard free hit there with the defenders having to be far enough back.
Noah Day Moretz got into the passing lane, and another free hit for Ohio. See the tempo speeding up a little bit by Miami, but Ohio's tempo a little bit slower, more patient. That one bounces off the wrong side of the stick. We just talked about Joanna Hildebrandt. She's into the game right now for Ohio. Part of this strong freshman class, headlined by Hildebrandt and Hartlieb. Pauline Hartlieb, freshman, also from Germany. 4 goals, 1 assist early in her freshman campaign. That is a huge addition. And speaking of Hartlieb, there she is now with a little bit of green grass in front of her. But once again, defense impermeable early. Madison Workman got her stick in the way of that one. And another stop by Miami. It seems whenever Ohio tries to generate these sequences, the Redhawks, they've just been there defensively every single time.
Yeah, getting in front and making Ohio have to really work to get around them, and that's a lot of credit to this Miami defense that we talked about at the top with them being first in the MAC in goals against average, holding opponents to below a goal and a half per game.
Yeah, and that's the benefit of keeping possession so long. If they keep doing that, you'll have to call them the Ball Hawks instead of the Red Hawks.
That is a fact.
About 7 minutes here to go in quarter number 2. No score between Ohio and Miami. However, the shot on goal difference, it is huge right now. 5-1, at least according to the scoreboard, and according to our individual stats, 5-0.
Yeah, in terms of shots on goal, Ohio does not have a shot on goal yet, and the Bobcats have committed 12 fouls in this game to Miami's 3.
That's another thing you see a lot with MAC play. You also see the physicality go up of the game. A lot of these players, they know what the toughness is like in the MAC play, and even for the younger players, they're starting to learn of that intensity. And I think being on the field for those 2 games, I got to see that like up close and personal and how tough it is. So here comes the Redhawks again. Look at that move over on the far side by the Redhawks. It's Negrete Garcia with some fancy play, and she generates another penalty corner for her team. My goodness.
Yeah, incredible dribbling there from Claudia Negrete Garcia. 2022 first team All-MAC selection. Again, putting together another great year. And here we go again for the Bobcats trying to defend Miami's 5th penalty corner of this game. And we'll see Becca Klein insert this ball on the penalty corner.
A couple of new players around the circle this time for Miami. Sloan Warren, freshman from Louisville on the near side, or far side rather. So in one of the wings, you have Mary Kate Barbie, the senior from Louisville.
And Paula Navarro is going to be the person to touch the ball first outside the circle. Remember, you have to get a touch outside the circle before a shot. It's Workman instead.
Miami going back and forth. Negrete Garcia looking for space, and she finds the shot. Negrete Garcia with her 7th goal of the season. And the Redhawks have taken a 1-0 lead in Athens.
Wow, and that was a terrific penalty corner situation for Miami. They didn't take the first opportunity off that first touch from Madison Workman. Kaylee Connor did a great job of quickly passing it off to Negrete Garcia, who took the shot and scored. So that's an example of sometimes you see on a penalty corner, you get the shot immediately, right? But this was patient work from Miami with their penalty corner, and it paid off.
So 5th time is the charm for Miami. Negrete Garcia with the goal and the assist to Paula Navarro. Midfielder set up a really great position. They had the back and forth. And then Negrete Garcia doing her thing with the spin move. She has had some great games here in Athens 2 years ago with the Redhawks down 3-2 late in the game with just 1 minute left. She scored in the 60th minute to force overtime, and then in double overtime after the first 10 minutes was a stalemate. She had a great individual effort, got a break, was 1-on-2, and had a finishing goal to win the rivalry game. One of the most impressive players I've seen through my 4 years of calling field hockey. Now, one thing to keep an eye on is counterattacks. We saw Ohio try to go quickly with theirs. Now here comes Negrete Garcia again. That time defense great. That's a great matchup between Plan and Negrete Garcia. That one-on-one, something to watch.
Yeah, really good footwork for Anouk Plan to get in front of Negrete Garcia, who looked like she was going to be able to have a full head of steam forward. Now this ball goes out for Miami possession.
Yep, a missed pass there to Emily Beitzel, one of the other freshmen on this team from Hershey, Pennsylvania. It's like a really fun city to be from.
Oh, yeah, Hershey Park.
Yep. As a big roller coaster guy, I can second that.
Whether it's roller coasters or chocolate, that is a place to go and see.
Or combine them both, why not?
Yeah. We have chocolate in front of us, actually.
Some Kit Kats that were granted to us. How about that?
It's
very fitting of October.
Yep, almost Halloween.
It's always a good sign when it's October in sports. That's when you know all the seasons are heating up. It's full conference play. Teams battling for positions in their conference tournaments, whether it's field hockey, soccer, volleyball, or football.
And here Ohio gets to take advantage of a missed touch there. The Bobcats can quickly restart. Caitlin Whittle.
Whittle taken to the ground as there is a foul, though, a green card assessed to the Bobcats. It's Marla Call. So the Cats are down a player. They've had some sequences where they've had to deal with this as the Ball State match, a very physical game where Ohio was facing a lot of infractions in that game. They played probably about 6 or 7 minutes, down 10-11 in terms of players on the field. And even in that overtime when they lost and they gave up the game-winning goal, it was a situation where Ohio had only 6 players on the field to Ball State's 7 in that overtime. Here it is, another long pass. Paula Pena Martinez tried to push that one in, and then another penalty corner generated by Miami. Their 6th one. It is relentless. But the thing that impressed me the most on that was just the long pass being completed with such efficiency.
Yeah, and Miami able to take advantage and take chances with that long pass. As you mentioned just a moment ago, the Bobcats playing a player down, and with a green card, when that is initiated, the team plays a player down for about 2 minutes, 2 minutes exactly. Yellow card, the team has to play a player down for 5 minutes. But this is only a green card situation.
So here we go again, Miami, with their 6th penalty corner. Their 5th time was the charm. Can they make it 2 in a row? Here in Athens, they have a 1-0 lead, looking to double it. And here's Negrete Garcia. Slides past the first defender, fires in a shot. Looking for the rebound was Mary-Kate Barbie. And deja vu.
Yeah, it's going to happen once again here. And this time, Carly Service, the junior for Miami, will insert here on the penalty corner.
Let's see if they go to the near side. We've seen a lot of plays over to the far side. When you got Negrete Garcia, why not? That one is mishandled off of the stick. So a good break for Ohio.
Yeah, Redhawks conceded that opportunity.
So Miami working it back to their back line to try to set up for another attack, looking for holes in the defense.
Bobcats are now at full strength
Back to 11 on 11, and Berta Amata driving through. That one knocked out of play, actually rather Sloan Warrant. One thing you'll notice too a lot, Sam, is how quickly these substitutions happen and how frequent they are occurring.
Yeah, we see a lot of players scurry onto the field, some similar to ice hockey with the line changes.
And just to keep everybody fresh, this is a Miami roster, 30 players on this roster, and that's really needed and that's necessary for what they go through in terms of the schedule. So we talked a bit earlier, Miami's played 13 matches while Ohio has played 8 matches. The Bobcats look to generate some momentum quickly with a minute and a half left. But this is a Redhawks team that has been challenged all throughout the year, as there's a free hit. But they've been challenged all throughout the year. Wake Forest, you talked about the Maryland game and 4 overall teams that are in the top 25. Miami themselves are just outside the top 25 at number 26. They also had some strong road trips where they've had to go to different time zones against Cal and UC Davis to one of the few programs or 2 of the few programs that are west of the Mississippi River in field hockey. And I asked Coach, what's the reason that you do that? And Jaco Puzo, he responded with saying that it is important not only just for getting ready for the NCAA tournament, but it's also something that allows the players to go through the ups and the downs.
Yes.
And that is crucial to be able to experience losses, experience wins, experience the high moments, experience the low moments.
Yeah, and experience the treacherous travel as well, right? Having to go all the way out to California and play 2 games early in the season. Redhawks won both of them.
About 30 seconds remain in this opening half, in Miami looking to end it off with a 1-0 lead to get the advantage going into the break. It's funny, though, we talk about the East to West Coast split. That's going to be a fun topic to talk about a little bit later, especially given the state of conference realignment in NCAA. As that takes us to the end of the second quarter, the Redhawks, they strike in minute number 24. Claudia Negrete Garcia on an assist from Paula Navarro. 1-0 Miami at the break. Halftime here in Athens, Ohio. A fantastic Mid-American Conference showdown between the Bobcats and the Redhawks. 1-0 lead for Miami as the Redhawks, they've had a strong start to this game, and then in the second quarter, they found their goal with their leader, Claudia Negrete Garcia.
Yeah, and definitely, Cedric, want to break down that penalty corner that we witnessed where Negrete Garcia found a way to score. Got to give a ton of credit to both Madison Workman and Paula Navarro. Both of those players were super vital on that penalty corner. Workman was the first person to touch the ball outside the circle, and it was a quick pass to Navarro, who was able to decide in the moment whether or not she would shoot the ball or have a second pass. And that quick second pass got Ohio's defense a little bit off balance a bit and allowed Negrete Garcia to put a clean strike on target.
At Miami with an early 1-0 lead. It was a great sequence. They've also been just so strong on the penalty corners. They have 7 of them throughout this game, so they've been generating them very quickly. So if Ohio wants to get back in this matchup, they're going to need to start generating some of their own and, again, continue to stave off things defensively. Do we have any statistics from goalkeepers and seeing how the saves have kind of progressed for Ohio?
Yeah, absolutely. With Ohio, the Bobcats have 6 saves to Miami's 0. And speaking of goalie statistics and numbers, I've just visually been impressed with some of the decision-making from Macy Lotz in cage, the senior from Louisville, Kentucky. She has been fantastic, making some aggressive decisions to come out of the cage and disrupt anything that Miami has tried to do. So want to continue to see more of that from Macy. And I just think for Ohio offensively, they've got to be able to transition from the defensive side of the field to the offensive side of the field much more effectively, because when they're in the offensive side, they're going to get more chances. They just have struggled to go from one end of the field to the other.
So Ohio and Miami, about 3 minutes left in halftime. More action coming to you after the break. We are just about ready for second half action here in Athens, Ohio. My name is Cedric Granger. I'm joined by Sam Hyman. We had a great first half of action, and this is sure to end up in an exciting finish. 30 minutes left to go. Miami trying to stay on top of the Mid-American Conference and keep their ownership of this rivalry right now. They have won 13 straight, trying to make it 14. As for the Bobcats, they are looking to move up to first place in the Mid-American Conference. If they win today, they will be first place in the MAC ahead of Miami. A lot on the line for this matchup. Battle between a 3-0 and a 2-1 team in the conference.
Yeah, and if Ohio somehow finds a way to come back and win this game, which is certainly possible, it would put them in the driver's seat to make the MAC tournament.
Certainly be a tough task against this Miami team, but a player that can help that is Caitlin Whittle. Here with possession, and then has that one stolen from her. Some impressive one-on-one defense that time from Carly Service.
Carly Service has been heavily involved today for the Red Hawks. She's been the inserter on some of Miami's penalty corners.
And here's Desmaretz. Gets it to Whittle. And not able to field that cleanly in the attacking circle. She would have had an opportunity. It was one-on-one against Parisi.
Yeah, tried to tip that. And that's about all she could do in that sequence.
So again, Whittle, fifth-year senior, came back for another year with this team. She's from Glenwood, Maryland. 9 goals puts her first, not only on the team, but also top 2 in the entire Mid-American Conference.
Yeah, Coach Johnstone told me that, yes, you know that Caitlin has the ability to score. But the one thing that Coach Johnstone loves about Caitlin is how hard she works to get back on defense.
Here's the speed from Pena Martinez, a wide-open teammate, and that one knocked in. Carly Service makes it a 2-0 lead for the Red Hawks. And money in the bank.
And just like that, Cedric, transition play leading to a Miami goal. That was easy work for Service on the back end there, but it was really the transition for the Red Hawks that you have to highlight.
Yeah, but actually it could have been Sloan Warren either. The 1 and the 7 look very similar on that far side. So it's either Warren or Service with the goal. But nevertheless, a beautiful assist from Pena Martinez, driving that all the way in. And we'll find out here shortly who scored officially.
I thought it was Carly Service. And it is. Yeah, it was definitely tough to see, but I think when it comes to Service, she's been in that situation quite a bit today.
So 13 minutes left in quarter number 3 in Miami. They now have a 2-0 advantage, a lead to protect. So now we got it confirmed. It was Carly Service. That is her 5th goal of the season. And she's one of those players that's gotten it done on both the passing side of things as well as finishing the shots. 4 goals, 4 assists coming into this matchup, now 5 goals. And that assist mark puts her at 2nd in the entire conference, and now with 5 goals, top 10. Red Hawks looking for another sequence. Service, a junior from Morgantown, Pennsylvania. Attended Twin Valley High School, as we see another penalty corner for Miami. This is their 8th one.
Yeah,
that's another great place to recruit from, Pennsylvania.
Absolutely. And we had an infraction there inside the circle, so that is going to lead to another penalty corner.
33rd.
And so now for Ohio, they've got to find a way to stand tall in this situation, giving up 1 goal already on a penalty corner. We saw a great job by Caitlin Whittle on Miami's first penalty corner. Whittle acting as the fly position where she's going to sprint to the top of the circle. We'll see what happens here.
So there's the offload. Miami with the shot, and that one misses to the right. Paula Pena Martinez, who just picked up the assist a little bit ago, rewarded with an opportunity to try for a goal herself. And that shot missed wide right.
Yeah, Paula Pena Martinez a little bit disrupted there from Caitlin Whittle, who is flying up to the top of the circle. Good work from Caitlin.
Pena Martinez had her 3rd assist of the season. So, again, another player that's had that balance where you're seeing not just the goals and not just the assists, but a mix of both.
Yep. And then what I talked about earlier with Coach Johnstone, who loves it when Caitlin Whittle hustles back on defense. That is an element that doesn't go down in the stat sheet, but it certainly goes down in Coach Johnstone's heart.
Yeah, it's very difficult for a lot of players in the field to get any sort of defensive statistics. One of the rare ones is a defensive save. Not a lot of those. Wesley Littlefield of the Bobcats does have one in her career, but it is a very rare statistic. But Whittle, her defensive presence is great for this team. And with there being, like I said, no set positions, even if you're a premier offensive player, you need to be running all the way down the field, back and forth, to make sure to help out on defense. And her expertise in penalty corner situations has been very helpful to this team. Tough as nails, and we'll get in there. As here comes Maddie Coombe with a little bit of room down the line and knocks it off of a Red Hawk very wisely to set up the penalty corner. Very crafty from Coombe.
I was just going to say, Maddie Coombe, very good work on that baseline for the Bobcats. Looking pretty comfortable just summoned onto the field a moment ago, and her ability to carve through the defense and set something up here.
Minute 39 of the match. Check that, 35 of the match, rather. Here comes Ohio with their penalty corner. And that is the 2nd penalty corner of the day for the Bobcats, looking to cut this deficit in half. The insert from Whittle. Kopp on the wing. Kopp with the shot. That one's deflected away. We'll reset.
Yeah, and a unique decision there from Caitlin Whittle. Typically, sometimes we'll see the person who inserts on the penalty corner pass it to the top of the circle, but they're angled on the wing, and we saw Kopp take a little bit of a different approach outside the circle on that shot.
Personnel shuffles a little bit for the Bobcats with this penalty corner. Still the insert, though, from Whittle. But Kopp now on the left wing. They'll try her luck on that side. Kopp once again fires and just misses to the right. Ever so close on that shot by Mila Kopp.
Yeah, and that was a great amount of strength behind that swing. Again, she was able to take the shot inside the circle because her first touch was outside of the circle. Remember, that's a key piece to the penalty corner.
And she got a little bit of forward momentum as a result, too, driving into the box, or into the circle, rather, to create that opportunity. Kopp is a player that does have 2 goals on this season, and she's done especially well in penalty corner situations. That matchup against Indiana on September 10th, where every goal counted for the Bobcats and forcing that game into overtime and eventually picking up the win. But she scored on a penalty corner from the left wing. And here's DeKotla. Little bit of room, trying to navigate defenders. Offloads it to Coombe. And she's played very well today. Working one-on-one, spins to her left. Now looks for a passing lane to her right. And the defense from Warren knocks it out. But Ohio, down but not out, still rolling into the attacking circle. And a free hit for Johanna Hildebrand. Hartlieb looking for DeKotla. And some active defense from Miami.
Yeah, great job there from the Red Hawks. Sasha DeKotla almost got in position where she was able to get a clean contact and turn that towards the cage.
So Hartlieb trying to work the corners, and she is fouled. Penalty corner for Ohio.
Yeah, shoved by Mary Kate Barbie, the senior midfielder for the Red Hawks.
Once again, any sort of foul inside the attacking circle generates a penalty corner for the Bobcats. And they've turned up the dial, now down 2-0. It's now or never.
Yeah, and when you think about it, Cedric, there's still plenty of time. We're only in the 3rd quarter right now. Ohio down 2-0, but in a blink of an eye can really put the pressure on the Red Hawks here with a crucial penalty corner.
Bobcats have come down from a deficit of 2 before. Kopp looking for a pass to the left side, a spinning opportunity. No good, and this sets up a counterattack for Miami. They're going to push it downfield, and a player is wide open. Warren. So Reese Warren, to be more specific. Had it down over there, but a free hit generated by Ohio. Good defense to shut that down. But, Sam, you got to see a perfect example of how quickly Miami works. Because if you have a penalty corner on one side, most of your players are at midfield. One was able to slip back on the counter.
Absolutely. And now the Bobcats trying to put the pressure on Miami once again here on the right side of the field.
It's a good job by Madison Workman. Pushing that one out of there just so her defense can catch up a little bit to her. There was numbers advantage for Ohio, more black jerseys in there than white jerseys. So she wisely knocked it out of play. Here's Hartley. And good team defense by the Redhawks, and also to do that without fouling when you have two players that are going after the ball or going for tackles. It can be tricky not to generate any sort of foul there. But they did a great job of being able to pass off the defense and zone it well.
Yeah, and I've been impressed with Reese Warren for Miami, the junior from Louisville, Kentucky. Not only has she shown speed down the left channel here on the near sideline, but also has done a good job defensively too, drifting back and really making it hard for the Bobcats.
We got two sets of sisters in this matchup for Miami. It's Reese and Sloan Warren, and as for the Bobcats, it's Bodie and Wesley Littlefield. Sister here at Pruitt Field.
Gotta love it. Just a moment ago, excellent job by the Redhawks to stop something inside the circle. Riley Mazzalupi, the sophomore, got in front and deflected that.
About 7 minutes left to go in quarter number 3. In 22 minutes overall, 2-0 lead for the Redhawks. Negrete Garcia with the goal in the 24th minute, assisted by Navarro. And in the 33rd minute, Pena Martinez with the assist, Service with the goal.
And for the first time here in the second half, Natalie LaFleur, the freshman midfielder from Fredericksburg, Virginia, checks in for the Bobcats.
That always puts a smile on our face. She works with us for the broadcast, sideline reporter for soccer a couple of days ago. She's put in a lot of work, not only in the classroom, on the field, but also in helping us to prepare for these field hockey matches as Miami sets up another penalty corner, but she made a whole guide for us.
Yeah, she is a student of the game. There's no question about it. Knows the game inside and out, and her knowledge certainly translates on the field, being only a freshman, too. So she's very aware of a lot of different situations and strategies on the field.
Yeah, she navigated the offense and, I should say, facilitated the offense in that matchup against Longwood, earning her first assist of the season. Here's the insert from the Redhawks. That one mishandled. Miami trying to bring it down. Whittle being the aggressor. And then the Redhawks try to get another thing forced, but then a foul. Aggressive play there by Whittle. It was a dogfight down low, and here's some space for LaFleur. And she can fly. She's got some speed. Gets past one defender. Rolling into the attacking circle, looking for an outlet. There is a Bobcat down low, but that one is taken away. They were looking for the freshman-to-freshman connection between LaFleur and Hildebrand.
It was a really good job by LaFleur in transition for the Bobcats. Stayed calm and composed and got a pretty good pass off to Joanna Hildebrand. Just too much traffic in the circle.
Coombe trying the near side here to LaFleur on the corner. Tight roping. Finds a gorgeous pass inside. Whittle near the net. Not able to turn on that one. They had a look as Parisi on her back heels a bit, but Ohio, with their best chance of the day, Littlefield has that one knocked away. And Miami can breathe a little easier after that sequence.
I'll tell you what, that was all started by the composure of Natalie LaFleur on the baseline there near the cage, being able to distribute that in a troublesome spot. Just no chance to finish for the Bobcats. But again, Ohio's really turned up the dial, to your point, here in the third quarter, having a lot more opportunities in possession.
Yeah, we look at the penalty corners. Ohio now with 3, 2 of them in this third quarter alone as we reach the 40th minute of the matchup. 20 minutes to go, 2-0. Miami with the lead. These two teams played last year, really early in the season in Oxford. It was a September game. Usually these teams play in October, but a little bit of a earlier matchup than usual. And the Redhawks, they took it at home 3-0.
And right there, we just saw an aerial situation. The official blew the whistle and deemed that that ball was too high in the air. So that's why the possession changed.
Yep, that is classified under the dangerous hit category. It's cool being on the sidelines. I've talked about this a little bit, but you get to hear coaches calling out for these certain infractions or certain penalties when they hear them or when they see them happen live. They'll be like, hey, aerial.
Yep.
Or they'll be, oh, dangerous.
And trying to get the officials to notice that the aerial is a complicated one and it doesn't get called often.
Navarro, another great pass to Negrete Garcia, puts one into the attacking circle, and no shot there. Finley Payne, the midfielder, was camped out right to the right of the cage.
Dude, that was an incredible distribution from Claudia Negrete Garcia. I mean, in a blink of an eye, just a laser beam type of pass that almost benefited for Finley Payne. It was just like gold in her back pocket.
That's right. They've just been so sharp. That Navarro pass, too, to be able to set up that opportunity on the corner, and then Negrete Garcia with a nice cross. Here comes Ohio. Gorgeous outlet pass, and just a little too much for Wesley Littlefield, who snuck behind the defense. Would have had a one-on-one.
You're really kicking yourself there if you're an Ohio fan.
Talk about awareness to even see that.
Yeah.
Like I said earlier in this broadcast, Sam, it is difficult to string together passes when you can only use one side of that stick.
Yeah, you've got to get creative.
Yep, and you see players be able to flip the stick upside down, so they go right side up, upside down, right side up, upside down, to the curved end will sometimes be facing down and then sometimes facing up to use that as a dribbling technique. Something I've seen a lot from Anouk Plant. It's really impressive. So here comes Miami again. An individual effort from Reese Warren. And that one shut down. There's about 6 black jerseys in there to just one Miami Red Hawk, and Warren was hanging tough. So here comes Whittle, trying to shake and bake the defender, and generates a free hit. Here's Bodie Littlefield, junior from Oakland, Maine. Her and her sister Wesley worked at their parents' gym in Maine all throughout their lifetime and now getting to play again with each other. It's one of the really exciting things about Senior Day last year for Ohio. A couple of their key contributors getting a chance to stay one more year.
Yeah, and the Bobcats also had a chance to play in Maine this season, and the team got to experience the Littlefield festivities and family affair. It was really cool to see from afar.
Showcases how these teams are like families. That's on the Ohio side and the Miami side as well, too. Coach Iñako Puzo, he describes on this team that there's no captains for Miami. Whether you're a freshman or a senior, sophomore or a junior, everybody's expected to be a leader in this program. So here's some room again. Warren tries her luck again on the right wing, offloads it to Negrete Garcia. And nobody home on the pass to the right side.
Yeah, and an interesting decision there from Reese Warren. She had the defense on their heels a little bit and elected to pass that out to Negrete Garcia.
I could never fault a Miami player for looking for number 9 in any situation near the goal. Speaking of players you always want to find, you see Whittle working to DeCatla. That one off of the toe of a Miami player and a penalty corner. 42 seconds remain in quarter number 3. Big opportunity for Ohio. A huge sequence to try to cut this lead in half for Miami.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see where Ohio goes on this penalty corner. We've seen Caitlin Whittle mix it up quite a bit on the insert from the baseline. You've got multiple options. We've seen Whittle distribute to Mila Kopp on the wing. Noah Desmaretz on the left wing right now. We'll see.
42 seconds. Here's the penalty corner for the Bobcats. Mila Kopp fires a shot, and DeCatla puts that one in. Lead has been cut in half here in Athens. Kopp to DeCatla. And that's Sasha's second goal of the season. Sam, you talked about how you wanted to see Sasha DeCatla step up in today's game, and she did it right there, being able to get that nice ricochet into the goal.
And she does what she does best right there is the tips on the penalty corners. That's what graduate assistant coach Frankie O'Brien told us before this match, is it is so pivotal to watch what Sasha DeCatla does on the tips from penalty corners, and in a blink of an eye, we've got a 1-goal game.
15 seconds left. Miami trying to set up a quick counterattack, and that one mishandled on the back line by Berta Mata, and that should take us to the end of the quarter. But a massive goal for the Bobcats. They've got some momentum as we go into the final 15 minutes. Battle for first place in the MAC. 2-1 lead for the Redhawks, and this last quarter is sure to be a good one. Get your popcorn ready. We got field hockey coming to you after the break.
Ohio goal scored by number 14.
Who needs Big Noon kickoff when you got Big Noon first touch here on YouTube? Ohio Bobcat TV, Cedric Granger, joined by Sam Hyman. And what an awesome sequence at the end of the half for Ohio. Minute 45, Kopp found DeCatla, and she put it into the cage to make it a 2-1 game, just a 1-point game going into this fourth quarter.
Yeah, what a momentum shifter for the Bobcats, who had 3 penalty corners. 3 of their 4 penalty corners came in that third quarter, and Sasha DeCatla was so prepared in that moment to tip that ball after the delivery from Mila Kopp. You could not have drawn up that penalty corner better than what Ohio did in that moment.
So the question is, can Ohio find the equalizer? In the Indiana matchup, they were down 2-0 early, tied it up 2-2 at halftime. Then the defenses took over until Ohio took the lead in overtime. In this game, Miami with a 2-0 lead is, wow, look at that move there. A little juke from Paula Pena-Martinez. Got some true technicians over there with the Redhawks.
Absolutely. That was, that goes back to the practices, the long days during preseason where you're tirelessly working.
Whittle able to get that ball, trying to tiptoe through the defenders. Speaking of toe, that went off of a Miami Redhawks toe, and this results in a free hit. That's so tough, too, with the ball going like that, and if it goes between your legs, it's easy for it to hit off of a toe or a knee inadvertently. And there's a mistake, a missed pass.
Yeah, Reese Warren not quite on the same page there as she delivered that pass a bit too far from her teammate.
That was Becca Lawn on the back line for the Redhawks. So the Cats looking to take advantage here. Bodie Littlefield keeps possession, working towards the corner, trying to tightrope, gets tripped up. No call. And Ohio with the free hit at the top of the key. Here's Pauline Hartley. 13 minutes remain in the game. 2-1 lead for Miami. Hildebrandt looking for space. Ohio maintaining their pressure. It was mainly Miami possession in Ohio's side of the field in the first half, and it's been a little bit of the inverse, or at least a little bit more equal, I should say, in this second half. Let's look at Miami skate and pass through defenders. Long run for the Redhawks. That was Warren. Now works it to the right side. A little bit of space. The stick handling skills. Beautiful by service, but knocked away by Lotz. He read that one well off the stick. Another cross in. Lotz is ready again. Negrete Garcia has that one saved. Macy Lotz got her leg out there and ricocheted out of play.
Wow, we saw the perfect angle there from Negrete Garcia taking that shot. It looked like that was put up on a silver platter. And Macy Lotz making another stop. She has 8 saves here today.
Unbelievable. Once again, career high 4 saves, and you'll get to hear a little bit about her come Sunday when sideline reporter Scarlett Wagner, who got plenty of time with Macy Lotz during our interviews this week, will be talking about her in depth. But a fantastic athlete, and talks a lot about her parents as her inspiration, especially her mom, who's here at the game today.
Yeah, and I'm sure if you're a fan of the Bobcats, you know this rivalry. Macy did not play in this rivalry last season, so she was probably one of the players. You know, everybody's obviously itching to play in this rivalry, but she didn't play last year, and now getting this chance and what she has done, making a statement right now.
Yeah, she's really had to be patient through a majority of her career. Neela Grainer was the primary goalkeeper for the Bobcats for her first 3 seasons as a member of Ohio, but she stayed patient, waited her turn. She got some opportunities. Her first career game was actually one of the games where COVID played a big fact, and Ohio was down to just 10 players in that matchup, and that was her first chance to get the start in the goal. Funny enough, that was my first game calling Ohio field hockey.
That's why
back as a freshman against Appalachian State.
I was going to say that's why the memory bank is coming back for you right there. You knew.
It is. That's what kind of makes this so special too. 4 seasons, getting to kind of grow up alongside the players. So the players that were freshmen at the same time, or even in the case of Caitlin Whittle and Wesley Littlefield, they were sophomores when I first got here, and you've gotten to see them grow, got to see them progress in leadership. You see a diving attempt by Whittle, not able to stop that one from rolling out the back line. But just how impressive it is to see the way that these athletes develop, how they become leaders of their team. And these players have really embraced that. And one of the things I heard from the interview, Lotz saying that she loves being a leader for the younger players and for the younger goalkeeper coming up, Gwen Hirschberger. That's got to be huge for her development to have someone like Lotz to be able to show her the ropes.
Yeah, and graduate assistant coach Frankie O'Brien does a phenomenal job working with both goalies as well. And, yep, there it is, an infraction inside the circle for another Ohio penalty corner. We will see what type of formula Ohio has to show here.
Bobcats are 1 for 5 on penalty corners in terms of converting those opportunities to goals. 9 minutes, 41 seconds left to go. A 2-1 lead for Miami. And that hangs in the balance. Caitlin Whittle will have the insert for Ohio as they look to notch this game tied 2 apiece.
Watch Sasha DeCatla far on the right wing to creep in and potentially tip it in like she did last time.
Whittle. Hildebrandt puts it down. Kopp fires a laser. And that one deflected out of play. Was looking for DeCatla again. Ohio went back to the well. But that time it was broken up by Paula Navarro. It looks like we do have a review. This could decide whether it is a penalty stroke which is very rare but could happen.
Very rare.
Penalty corner, or just a free hit.
Yeah, penalty stroke is like a penalty PK in soccer awarded to the offense when the defense commits a blatant foul on a high-scoring opportunity, which is very rare. And a penalty corner, that is deemed a high-scoring opportunity. So if there is indeed an infraction on a penalty corner, that could potentially lead to a penalty stroke, which is, again, the equivalent of a PK in soccer.
Does not happen very often, but I've only seen that happen once here in Athens in my 4 years of calling it. It was a penalty stroke where Mila Kopp had the game winner against Cal, or I should say game clincher. It was a 3-1 victory for the Bobcats, and it was a big win in terms of momentum. But after the play is reviewed, it's a penalty corner for Ohio. Number 6, as they've really evened up the margin. 9 penalty corners for Miami, but now 6 for Ohio. They go to Kopp on the left wing. Kopp with the shot, and that one's saved by Parisi. But it goes back to Mila, the senior, looking for some room, tried to find Caitlin Whittle, and the defense stood strong for Miami like a brick wall down there. Only fitting to say that in the Battle of the Bricks.
Absolutely. It's a matter of which brick doesn't completely get destructed. We knew there were going to be cracks in both bricks. And right there, it's clear on penalty corners right now that Ohio is targeting Mila Kopp. It wasn't the case in the first couple of penalty corners, but the last couple, Mila Kopp has been the target player for penalty corners.
That's one of the players that Coach Frankie O'Brien highlighted as a potential playmaker, either right outside the attacking circle or even within the attacking circle.
Yeah, and Kopp listed as a backer, the senior from Louisville, Kentucky. Somebody that has been a huge part of this game today. I'd also like to see a new plan be a little bit more involved here. One of the other backers.
As here comes Miami again. Service. Gets it out to the far side. And here's Warren. That one's out the back line and a turnover. Good defense by Ohio, being rangy. You have to work sideline to sideline and from one side to the other. Talked a lot about Kopp earlier, but it's like you have to have that offensive presence and that defensive presence. You're holding the back line. You're the anchor of the defense alongside a new plan to make sure that there's no breakaways. But then also, once the offense needs you to step up, you're in the attacking circle making play after play.
Really good on-ball pressure here we're seeing from the Miami Redhawks, led by Catherine Groff.
Miami team looking to maintain their control of the Mid-American Conference, looking for their 7th straight MAC title. And there's an open pass. And good job by Mary Kate Barbie, the senior, corralling that one. Tried to go into the attacking circle. And the Bobcats, they put their fists in the air as they stave off another Miami attack, though. A sloppy pass, a turnover. But Ohio intercepts it at the last second.
Yeah, Carly Service was hoping that ball would come quicker inside the circle, but it did not.
Now Whittle trying to box out. She thought she might have won a free hit. However, it's Miami's. The Redhawks led by Iñako Puzo, 13th year at the helm of Miami, 150 and 113 in his seasons, 8 MAC regular season titles, 7 tournament titles in the MAC tournament, 67 and 16 in conference, a dominant stretch. And as a reminder, throughout these last 6 years where they have had their dominance in the MAC, their only loss to another Mid-American Conference foe is to Kent State in that time span.
Incredible, just incredible. Coach Puzo winning the MAC Coach of the Year 5 times so far as well. An amazing mind when it comes to this sport.
And his leadership is going to be needed for this run for Miami. This is their first of 2 challenging MAC road games in a row. Looking to go back up by 2. That one dangerously there. And they say it is in. Or maybe a penalty corner. I believe they're going to talk about this one. It was almost a defensive save opportunity for Ohio. This might end up being a penalty stroke situation, and yes, it is.
Yeah, good call. Again, we go back to what the penalty stroke is. It's got to be a situation where there's a high-scoring opportunity and a blatant foul, and that was exactly what it was on the baseline.
Negrete Garcia against Lotz, and she puts it in the back of the net. Claudia Negrete Garcia with back-to-back trip to Athens with 2 goals. 3-1 Redhawks.
Wow, just an unfortunate break if you're an Ohio Bobcat fan there. And when it comes to penalty strokes, yes, you are allowed to strike it into the net as opposed to a penalty corner. Off of the penalty corner, it has to hit the black baseboard. So that's why Negrete Garcia had multiple options, and she chose to go upstairs into the net. And now Ohio has to be in a hurry right now. They cannot waste any time, and they've got to take a lot more chances here.
Just 5 minutes remain in the matchup. Bobcats looking for some Pruitt magic. Field named after Peggy Pruitt, recently inducted into the MAC Hall of Fame. But here's another opportunity, and that one a little too much on it for Negrete Garcia. That pass was from Pena Martinez. As one thing that's been impressive about Miami, they've still kept up these offensive attacks. Just because they had a 2-1 lead earlier didn't mean that they stopped applying offensive pressure, and that's how they were able to generate that final goal, 3-1, after it was nearly a defensive save situation by the Bobcats. But it ended up being an infraction very close to the goal, and the penalty stroke has quieted the crowd. Now Miami in a little bit of keep-away mode, trying to maintain possession and maintain that first-place position. Their next challenge after the Bobcats will be Kent State, team that Ohio has already seen and has defeated, as there's another dangerous opportunity nearby. That one's crossed in, and Miami just a moment away. Negrete Garcia had another opportunity. If she would have just got her stick out, would have been 4-1.
Yeah, right there we saw a foul there for a moment, and now Redhawks right back at it.
Navarro into Negrete Garcia, spinning, turning, and Lotz kicks that one away like a kickball player at recess, and we reset. But you get to see Negrete Garcia's presence stands out every time you watch her play.
Unbelievable.
Now with 8 goals on the season. Puts her at second place in the entire MAC conference, just behind Caitlin Whittle's 9.
Yeah, it's remarkable, and she'll go down as one of the best players to come through Miami. Certainly worth mentioning. In our conversation with Iñaki Puzo, Coach Puzo said she could have chosen to go to a different school this year, but her loyalty certainly has shined through, and she's done wonders for this program. Now, 5th all-time at Miami in goals with 51.
And one of the marks that a lot of people usually apply to showcase how good a player is how do they do in rivalry games. 4 goals in 2 seasons, at least playing here in Athens. And now she's looking for another. She's around the penalty circle, offloads it to Navarro. Navarro back to Negrete Garcia. The shot knocked away by Lotz.
Boy, that was a dangerous little 2-person game there with Paula Navarro and Claudia Negrete Garcia. They were on the same wavelength, working beautifully.
3 minutes remain in the matchup. 3-1 lead for Miami. They are looking for the victory here in Athens, Ohio. They need a shot, they need a score, and they need it quickly. This should help them. Hildebrandt with the free hit. But Ohio having to push it back a little bit to the back line. And there's Plant. And can't connect with Desmaretz. And the time's starting to drip as the dial of desperation moving in the upward direction right now for the Bobcats.
I like that, the desperation dial. It's definitely cranked all the way up right now. And, you know, if you're Ohio and you look at this game, there have been so many brilliant moments, but give Miami a ton of credit. When Ohio threw a counterpunch. They did not break and play patient. They were aggressive still and got a goal from Claudia Negrete Garcia off of a penalty stroke.
And that's what Coach Puzo wanted to see from his team. Compete, and especially compete in tight games. They have had tons of challenges throughout the year to prepare them for the NCAA tournament as well as MAC play in the conference tournament. They've suffered their fair share of losses with 5 on the season, but they've all been to very tough opponents. They lost to a top 25 Maryland team, lost to a very tricky Brown team, also to Louisville, top 10 team in the country, and Virginia, number 6 in the polls. They've taken their lumps, but that has really helped them when it comes times of great adversity. The Redhawks looking for a cherry on top. 3-on-1 opportunity there against Negrete Garcia, and she still wins the free hit, working quickly out of it. Pass it to the attacking circle. The cross is knocked away. Kopp and Desmarais stood in the way of that one. But
yeah,
that was a 3-on-1.
It was crazy. It was crazy, and she was able to get away and find Mary-Kate Barbie inside the circle there. Mary-Kate Barbie has been pretty impressive to watch today on that right channel, a midfielder who's got a lot of speed.
1 minute remaining. 1 minute.
60 seconds remain in this 60-minute game. And the Redhawks, they are on their way to 4-0 in conference play and 9-5 overall. Bobcats still sitting in a really good position, but their last games will hold a lot more weight. Dangerous opportunity, but Ohio able to take it away. Some good defense down low as the Bobcats playing with some great pride here in the final minute, as that was Marla Call on the defense, answering the call with that play. But as we were saying, Ohio, with this schedule coming up, still some MAC opponents or winnable games against Central Michigan, who's really struggled this season. Their only win coming against Toronto University. So a little matchup outside of the U.S. They also get Bellarmine. That's a winnable matchup. Not an easy team, but they're 1-2 on the year, so they do have a MAC win under their belt. And then the trickiest one that they have left after this is at Appalachian State, having to go to Boone, North Carolina. That's Pena Martinez, a nice little move there. Tried to get something going. Won't matter anyway, as the Redhawks, they'll be celebrating on their way back to Oxford, Ohio. Battle of the Bricks champions for the 14th time in a row. And the Redhawks stun the Bobcats on homecoming weekend, 3-1. And the Redhawks, they're going to make a claim for a top 25 spot, especially after this performance.
No doubt about it, Cedric. A very impressive performance. To your point, we saw a lot of great efforts from both sides, but Claudia Negrete Garcia takes home 2 goals in this game. I think it really changed when she drew that penalty stroke on the baseline and was able to have it her way from that spot and deliver one in the top shelf. So it'll be interesting. Again, Ohio, remember, they've got that extra point right now because of that loss to Ball State in overtime. That could pay dividends down the stretch. It will be fascinating to see what happens when App State plays Kent State later today. Those two teams with 6 points tied for third place in the MAC. But Ohio has to quickly reset and turn around and play an ACC team Sunday.
Here's the goal summary for today. 24th minute, Claudia Negrete Garcia opened up the scoring on an assist from Navarro, and then in the 33rd minute, Service had her first goal of the game on an assist from Pena Martinez. Then the Bobcats, they got it within 1 in the 45th minute on a goal by Decatla on a pass from Kopp, and then closing out the icing on the cake, Negrete Garcia on the penalty stroke clinches the 3-1 victory for the Miami Redhawks. With this win, they are 9-5 on the season and 4-0 in conference play. They will take on Kent State on the road a week from today. They get a much-deserved rest. As for the Bobcats, season continues to go strong. As Sam mentioned earlier, they host number 23 Wake Forest in one of the biggest games in Ohio field hockey history, hosting a top 25 team. You can catch that call on ESPN Plus on Sunday with me, Cedric Granger, and, of course, my broadcast partner, Sam Hyman, for our wonderful media team here in Athens, Ohio. What a great game we had in Mid-American Conference play. 3-1 win for Miami in Battle of the Bricks. Thank you for joining us here on YouTube. NCAA field hockey. Gotta love it in the Mid-American Conference.